Hey, welcome back everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier. We're going to go into a little bit more detail now that I have a bit of time to break down these severe storms as they continue to push their way across much of West Texas. Here's what we're looking at over downtown Odessa. Doesn't look like anything special, nor is it. So let's try to move that camera around and show you what I'm seeing across my variety of sky cams. As I continue, it's on my other monitor, so give me just a moment. I can go ahead and snag that stuff. It looks to be that it's not responding. So just kidding, never mind. So we're jumping right into those dew points. Dew points, whoo boy. Yeah, these are gonna be a little bit on the higher side. Not as high as what we got yesterday though. We got into those mid to those upper 60s. A lot of that stuff is going to maintain its status in terms of, hey, we got a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, but notice down farther south, maybe south of Fort Stockton, Alpine, kind of around Big Bend, why are those dew points so much lower? Well, they actually just had the rain go through, and well, measures the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, and when all the moisture in the atmosphere falls to the ground, there's not a lot of moisture. So we got those quite low on those dew points, which is certainly pretty good. It's kind of what we ideally would like in some situations. Let me grab my remote. All right, let's move ahead to those weather warnings. We got severe thunderstorm watch that's staying in effect until 9 o'clock tonight. I was suspecting that the National Weather Service would let that get extended if we start to see more of those localized and severe impacts across the Permian Basin later into the evening. That doesn't seem to be the case so much right now. As a matter of fact, they did just put out a new discussion saying how they're probably not going to issue a new watch just because the line of storms I'm watching is actually just going sub-severe. But here is what we're looking at. Nothing severe in the area right now, but you see that line moving through Pecos and you start to question a few things. I don't blame you, I do too. But let's focus down south first. Now, this area was getting some large-sized hail, 2 to 2.5 inches in diameter, with one storm near Dryden getting up to 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts on radar. Yikes. So, pretty strong storms. It looks to be more so just some light to moderate rainfall extending from Sanderson up to Ivor and maybe a little bit toward Big Lake. But if we want to move it just a little bit farther to the north, we're seeing this kind of squall line, very reminiscent of what we saw this time last night across New Mexico, pushing its way into the Permian Basin. Now, I'm not getting any severe warnings with it. You're not noticing a lot of that purple. You're noticing red. Red is going to represent very heavy rainfall, but closer to the purple, that's going to be a bit of that hail core. Now, that hail core is going to represent larger sized hail. I'm not getting any kind of development popping up on here, so that's good news. But there is a little box just off to the corner here in Pecos. What is this? It's a dust storm warning. So we are actually watching one of our TxDOT cameras, and it went from completely clear to very dusty very fast. And why is that? Well, it's because ahead of the storm, you got a lot of winds kind of getting pulled into the storm that it's trying to use for energy. But when you get a lot of dust kicked up in the atmosphere, it dries out the air and helps to weaken the storm. So we kind of want a little bit of dust when it comes to some of these storms. That dust storm warning is in effect for about another 6 more minutes. Let's actually go ahead and pull up that TxDOT camera and see what we're looking at right now. This is over Ward. Not noticing a whole lot of low visibility. That's pretty good. This is going to be near Interstate 20. Some trucks on the road, got their headlights on. Everything looks to be pretty good. And your mile marker 67. Hey, everything's looking good. A little bit dark, a little ominous. Yeah, but we're just looking at more rain than anything else. So let's just jump back over to radar. Still watching that line of storms as it continues to try to push through. I'm going to go ahead and actually stop the timing of the radar and try and get you guys a track on this so we can get an idea of, hey, when are we going to start to see some of those impacts? So we're going to draw that line and try to push it out. All right. Let's see as far out as Crane. Where are we going to see these impacts? So taking place in around Monahans, maybe around 7:30. Odessa around 8:14. Midland around 8:43. So still another 2 hours out or so. But I want to go ahead and read you guys what I got from the National Weather Service. So let's go ahead and go full screen on that radar real quick. We can see a little bit more of that information. All right. Latest with that convective discussion, I'm not looking at any large-scale impacts expected. I'm not even seeing a special weather statement on it, but we're still going to see more so when it comes to that special weather, not special weather statement, but the convective discussion, exactly what we can expect. So, strong to locally severe gusts and some risk for hail may continue with those thunderstorms spreading across Midland, Texas vicinity during the next couple of hours before diminishing. A new severe watch appears unlikely. If we do see anything in terms of wind and hail, most probable wind gusts are going to be about 55 to 70 miles an hour, and most probable peak hail size is going to be about 1 inch to maybe about golf ball size, so 1.75 inches. So we're going to keep an eye on a lot of that stuff as we continue into the afternoon, into the later part of this evening. But let's go ahead and jump on back over to that severe risk. That severe risk, we can go ahead and pop myself back up on screen now too. We are looking at that level 2 risk. Not too bad. It's about the same threat as yesterday. The only difference for today is going to be that small chance for that tornado threat. But even that tornado threat was very, very low. I did have one tornado warning earlier, and I haven't gotten a whole lot of verification yet. I did see some pictures of what potentially looked like the tornado, but it also could have just been a land spout. It was also in a very rural area, even south of Marfa, so luckily impacts were very, very minimal. Biggest threat I've been seeing today is going to be with that hail. 15% chance you're going to see hail about 1 inch in diameter or more, but if you're in the area with the black dashed lines, it's what we call our severe hash. You could see that hail get up to about 2 inches in diameter, if not a little bit bigger. Notice how it's avoiding much of Midland, Odessa, Big Spring. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll take it, but of course we're still getting reports of a little bit of hail here and there. We had a storm in Andrews earlier, we had a storm in Big Spring earlier, about quarter to maybe even ping pong sized hail, even without some of those warnings. All right, overnight tonight, expect a lot of this stuff to kind of linger around, not necessarily as a big threat, but going to be on the edge of, hey, you're still going to be getting some rain, maybe some occasional wind gusts. 65 degrees, winds are very, very calm. That's the only thing about this system and why it's kind of hanging around our area for a bit. We don't have any strong enough winds to push out this entire band of storms. They're just going to keep lingering around until that cold front gets up and boogies away. Lingering rain chances for that early morning driving commute. I'll break that down a little bit with that future track in a bit. But by the afternoon, I'm not looking at a whole lot of storm threats. As a matter of fact, it looks to be relatively calm, relatively normal, just plenty of cloud cover. That does mean, hey, you're going to be seeing a little bit more cooler temperatures. You have more clouds, less sunshine, cooler. About as cool as today. Let's put it that way. We haven't really seen the sun much. So future track is showing kind of this line right over top of us. You know what? Not too far off from what we're seeing right now. As a matter of fact, it has that band kind of forming together and then beginning to really fall apart in the northeastern basin. Snyder, Scurry County, maybe even up toward Lamesa, right around 10 o'clock, and then it's gone. But I want to play this for you a little bit longer out. We'll watch how it spins. Look at that spinning. Yeah, it's a low pressure system. This is kind of the leading edge of the cold front. So if I were to actually try to draw a cold front on here, it won't let me. Nonetheless, hey, if I try to draw it, it's going to be basically a line right where the middle of that rotation is. And that rotation is going to continue to push its way out. So maybe a little bit of those isolated shower chances are very early in the morning, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 a.m. But it's going to be sub-severe. There's not a whole lot of energy or heat in the atmosphere that early in the morning, which is why most rain chances tend not to last that long in the morning. They tend to last more so in the evening. We got the heat, we got the moisture, we got the sun. But that's it. All right, Wednesday afternoon, evening, Not really seeing much going on here. Good stuff. I'll take it. By Thursday overnight, relatively calm. Skies are going to stay on the clear side. By the afternoon, all right, maybe some pop-up chances south of Alpine, maybe even moving into Big Bend National Park, into northern Mexico. That's about it, though. All right, what about that severe potential? Now, the severe potential for tomorrow, not bad at all. Level 1 marginal risk, mainly going to be the wind threat and the hail threat. You're not going to get a tornado threat with a marginal risk, so that's certainly good. And as the system moves out, we're going to see less and less of any kind of those severe threats lingering around. For your Thursday, just going to be mainly south of Interstate 10, maybe along Interstate 10, far as north as Big Lake, far north as Upton County, far north as, that's about it. That's about as far north as it goes. Maybe San Angelo will see some activity as well. But that leaves us with a lot of nothing after today. Okay, 20% chance of those showers Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we're in the clear. Temperatures steadily warming back up into the later part of the weekend. Hey, it's Father's Day on Sunday. That is pretty good. And we're back with those upper 90s during that time frame. All right, I want to go ahead and pop back up the radar just to show you guys what we're looking at, maybe even go into the hail tracks and the velocity that I'm seeing. I still got about another 4 minutes left on this stream. Here's what I have. This stuff, let's go ahead and pause it too. Doesn't seem to be as strong, as well organized. Just some heavy rain behind it out toward Orla, out toward Carlsbad. Guadalupe Pass is under that flash flood warning because of all that heavy rainfall. Let's actually see how long that is staying in effect until 6:45 Mountain Time, so 7:45 Central Time. Considerable amount of rain has fallen in that area, so make sure that you are staying on top of it. Turn around, don't drown. I know you drive a big pickup truck, you want to go and try and run through the water. You know how expensive that is to fix? I don't recommend it. Believe me, I've done it before. It's a lot of fun until it gets pretty nasty. We're starting to pick up a little bit more of the rain on that camera that we were watching earlier. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Yep, there we go. Right around Ward, seeing some heavier rainfall. Not so much that we're seeing large-scale impacts, just people driving around, keeping those headlights on, looking pretty good out there. I'll certainly take it. And even we're trying to get a little bit of activity maybe around New Mexico too, heading up toward Eunice, maybe even Jol, Kermit, Wink, all the way down toward Monahans, Pyote, maybe getting a little bit of activity. Now, that's going to be about it. Even the dust storm warning has gone away. Big Spring actually starting to see just a little bit of those pop-up showers out toward Colorado City, out toward Snyder. None of this is severe. This is the best case scenario we could have. We had some pretty active weather and some active storms earlier in the day. If it just remains as some heavy rainfall, do you know how much rain we really need? We need a lot. A lot of rain. Let me just put something into perspective for you. Let me find the right graphic for that. Almanac-wise, how much rain do we normally get? Well, we get about 12 inches of rain a year, at least at Midland International. We have gotten 1.61 inches this year. We are on month 6, so we should be around 6 inches. That's not a good look. So we could use a lot of rain. Drought monitor. Let me see if I can find the latest drought monitor. That should be updated as of Thursday. Yeah. I think the rainfall that we're getting today is going to be needed more than anything else. All right, let's go ahead and take it back to our Skycam. As I send it off, we're going to see a little bit more of that activity throughout the